Stinky. Really stinky. Welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. My name is Lüning, Horst Lüning. I'm the master taster of Whisky.com, and today we have a obligation to taste this one. I'm no friend of the extremely smoky whiskies. No. It's a obligation to report. It's part of my duties here, and it's like a compulsory alcoholic exercise. Okay, so to make a long sentence short, I do not like the extreme peated whiskey. I like a whiskey up to 40, 45, 50 ppm of smoke, and more becomes more and more difficult. Why? Well, these extremely peaty aromas cover just everything. And below that, there are, of course, a lot of different aromas, and I'm not able to taste them. So I had of this Octomore from the Bruichladdich distillery, I had already a few, a 6.1, a 6.3, and 2 independent bottlers from employees which worked before at the Bruichladdich distillery and got part of their salary in form of casks. And this is the Octomore 07.2. It's 5 years old. It has a hefty 58.5 ABV. And here on the label it said travel retail exclusive limited edition release. And this one has 208 ppm of smoke. This is 5 times more than the typical Islay malt has. What are they telling here? Scottish barley. So the barley for this whiskey was produced in Scotland, not on Islay. Probably there's some of the local barley in, but I think they used them in the Bruichladdich distillery for their local barley series. It's aged 5 years. The first Octomore, I think it appeared in 2010, 2009, probably around that date. And this one appeared 2015 on the market, if I'm right. And it's called a super heavily peated. Why super heavily? Well, heavily peated is the Port Charlotte from the Bruichladdich distillery, and this one is the super heavily. Jim McEwan head distiller. So this bottling is already a few years old because Jim McEwan, I think he retired, and he had some consultations later on at the Bruichladdich when it was sold to Remy Cointreau, but I think he retired finally. We believe terroir matters. We believe in Islay, we believe in people. They employ handicapped people, local handicapped people. Very good. We believe in authenticity, provenance and traceability. We believe in slow, we believe in challenging convention. We believe in the soul of the artisan. So this bottle was leaking. Otherwise I wouldn't open it because I do not like it. Because it was leaking, I'm able to taste it. Isn't there more on it? In homage to Octomore Distillery, a Hebridean tragedy of the Montgomerys and their long-lost Islay distillery. They even do not know where the distillery was located. There's an Octomore farm not far away, and there is a stone on a local graveyard telling about these people. This limited edition release of the world's most heavily peated whiskey uses barley malted to an extraordinary 208 ppm, distilled in Bruichladdich tall, narrow-necked stills. It is a velvet glove round an iron fist. Drink responsibly. Yes, I will. The cork is quite loose. Yes. I thought the typical way, just and then blah. Here we go. So this is unchill filtered, uncolored, 58.5, and it acquired already some color, but they used two different type of casks for this whiskey. The one is American white oak, ex-bourbon, whether it's first fill or second fill or whatever, I have no idea. And the second one is Syrah. It's those heavily red grape wine, which is so intense, wonderful. And this wine typically comes from the New World, not from the Old World, but the New World. So whenever I'm traveling, I try to get a local Syrah. Yes. Stinky. Really stinky. It's like an old ashtray. I lived for a few years in a house where we only had an oven, quite huge, heating the whole house with hot air tubes, pipes. And there I know what cold ash means in the morning. And there's nothing behind this heavy smoke. And the smoke is not this medicinal type of smoke, but it's the hefty, cold, harsh iron fist. Blah. 58.5 transports with this, well, alcohol is a soluting liquid, so it transports this aromas very, very intensely. Behind probably very faint berries and a little fruitiness. But the smokiness and the alcohol is yeah. Now we're just below 50. Take a little time. Better, much better now. And really some fruitiness, some red wine grapes are coming through. Probably some light apples. The smoke is becoming more medicinal, not that harsh, not that cold. And a little fruitiness, but covered completely behind the smoke. I know that there are a lot of connoisseurs out there which love heavily peated whiskey. Definitely. But it's not mine. So for me, typically 40, 45, 50 is the limit. And this was it, which was produced on Islay until 2000 and something. And the first heavily peated came out from one of the distilleries on Islay's south coast. And those progressive Hebridean distillers at Brigletti, they started with this extreme, and they made experiments how to bring the peat in the corn or on the corn and not losing it during production. So it's not that easy to bring more than 100 ppm on top of a corn, on a barley corn. So some vanilla appearing. It takes your time, really. So this is no whiskey to rush. This is no whiskey, and swallow. No, you have to wait and you have to add water and try. Sweetness, fruitiness, peat. And the peat is covering your mouth, and some little citrus note, some fruit, red fruit, and little vanilla from the oak. But the oakiness is not really that present. Probably I can't distinguish between this hefty smoke and the oak. Probably it might be some oak, but only 5 years. Well, the Syrah casks, they say it's a mixture of 2 casks. That means that the Syrah was 5 years in the cask, and this might have been European or French Limousin casks. So it might be some oakiness in, but which I can't figure out against all this smoke. This has been my liability to the job, and hopefully it will take a few years until I have to taste Octomore again. And I'm afraid this was one of the very few whiskies I was allowed to taste it from Jim McEwan in 2003 or 4 on a fair, and it was a raw whiskey directly from the stills, and there was no spitting jug, and so I turned around to choose a plant, and off it was. So please keep in mind that I'm not loving Octomore, but I think for those of you who like extreme smoke, this one will be wonderful, because it has some of this Syrah aftertaste, which gives the original extremely smoky whiskey some counterpart, even when I'm only able to taste that a few minutes after swallowing in the aftertaste, but I can't swallow it. Probably the ones of you who are used and know those heftily peated whiskies are able to find out more from this bottle. I think every year there will be a new bottling starting or since a few years, so there's no need to rush for those bottles. There will be always some available, and one year you have a finishing, one year you have this type of cask, one year you have this Syrah. So they bring some variations into the whiskey, and this helps to sell more of those, not only to the collectors, where there are a lot of them out there which want to have a complete range of those Octomore, and well, for the others there's some change. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned, there's more to come, and feel free to give your comments about this bottle in our forum, your questions in our forum, as well as in our whiskey database.